This is your captain speaking. My name is Taylor Morgan. I am a CrossFit Level 2 trainer, and I am dedicated to helping you improve your life. I created the Captain's Lifestyle because I wanted to help as many people as possible. We cover topics ranging from fitness, nutrition, recovery, mindset, and more. If you're content with settling for average, then walk the plank. But if you're ready to become the captain of your own life, welcome aboard. What's up, captains, and welcome to another episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Morgan. This episode I'm recording a couple days after Independence Day, 4th of July, hence the American attire. And the topic of today's podcast is going to be one of the questions that I asked on my Instagram. So the day before the 4th, I asked, what's one thing you wish you were better at? So I'm going to read the responses straight from my Instagram. So hopping right into it. First one, being on time for things. I'm a procrastinator. So I am a procrastinator too. Not necessarily when it comes to being on time for things. If I told someone I'm going to be there at that time, more than likely I'm going to be there at that time. But if it's just something that I scheduled for myself, then I don't really care what time I get there, because it just adds extra stress if you're constantly stressing, I have to be there at this time. But if you told someone that you were going to be there at a specific time, or you have an appointment for something, you should definitely get there on time, because if you're late, that's saying that you're selfish, that you value your own time more than the other person's time. Because if you're late, they're waiting for you, and they're going to see that. And so if you're continuously late, they're like, oh, well, this person doesn't care. So how can you help that? So a couple things you could do is, so it depends on why you're late. If you're late because traffic, well, that's an easy one. Just leave before traffic. So if it takes you on some days 10 minutes to get to your appointment, and on other days it takes you 45 minutes, well, guess what? Leave at least an hour early. So no matter what happens, unless there's some sort of like crazy accident, you're going to get there on time regardless of traffic, okay? Because you can't control traffic, but you can control what time you leave. Now, if you're late because not because of traffic, but because of yourself, like you just take too long, or you forgot about it or whatever, then you have to put the other person above yourself, I guess. So if you set an appointment and you want to make it to that appointment, it's obviously important to you. So treat it as something that's important. Set an alarm in your phone, mark it on your calendar. You can even set alarms of like when you're getting ready. Like, okay, it's like set an alarm on your phone that by this time my hair is going to be done. By this time I'm going to be dressed and ready to go. Just little things like that can help make sure that you're on time. But I would say the biggest thing is realize that it's not just you. Like, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like, the other person is there waiting for you. You said that you were going to be there at this time, so show up at that time. Because, again, like I said, if you continuously show up late, you're not going to be trustworthy. They're not going to trust you to show up on that time. And then that can lead into other areas of life. If they think you're late all the time, well, they might not trust you to put on some big presentation, or they might not trust you to, I don't know, watch their dogs, whatever it is. Just be a good person and realize that time is valuable, and that you should never waste anyone's time, because that's our most valuable asset. Time you can never get back. All right, second. So again, the question is, what is something that you wish you were better at? And the next response was eating. And I'm not sure the context of this. I don't know if that means eating as if like you forget to eat, or you just want to eat better. And then there's another response that was eating habits. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that it's like healthy eating habits and not that you just forget to eat. So this is a big one that a lot of people, I think, struggle with, is healthy eating habits. So you can fall into like one of two categories. So one, you know what you're eating is unhealthy, but you do it anyway. Or two, you don't know that you're not eating healthy. Wait, how do I phrase this right? You don't know that you're not eating healthy. There we go. So in other words, you think you're eating healthy, but you're actually not. And so you're thinking that you should be losing all this weight and making progress because you think you're eating healthy, but you're actually not. So we're going to focus on this one, because the first one that I said, if you know you're eating unhealthy, then, I mean, we could cover that too. But for this podcast, we're going to cover, we could cover both. So if you know that you're eating unhealthy, but you want to eat healthier, then why are you eating unhealthy? I think it's pretty obvious that you shouldn't. Everyone knows that you shouldn't eat the piece of cake or the cookies or the cheeseburger, whatever it is. I don't think anybody knows, or I don't think anybody thinks that those things are healthy or good for them. So then it just comes down to, well, how bad do you want to eat healthy? Would you rather be satisfied in the short term by eating whatever it is you're going to eat, the cookie? Or would you rather be satisfied in the long term by realizing I had the self-control to not eat that cookie and I feel better for it now? So it's like delaying short-term satisfaction in exchange for long-term gratification. So realizing that the choices you make now don't just affect you now, but they affect you down the road. And you might think, oh yeah, well, it's just this one time. Well, how many holidays are there? How many weekends do you go out and your friends are like, oh, it's just this one time, that's not going to hurt? Yeah, if you eat healthy and you eat a cookie one time, that's not going to hurt. But if you keep saying that, oh, it's just this one time, it's just this one time, over and over again, that adds up. And then you're surprised that you're not making any progress. Well, you keep having those one-time moments. You keep going to the family gatherings, and you're like, oh, well, okay, I'm with family, so I'll splurge for the day. But that adds up. So if you're serious about eating healthy, be strict about it. So tell the people you're around, hey, I'm eating healthy. I have this goal. I want to lose weight. I want to be healthy. And because of that, I am not going to be eating these things, which should be processed carbs and sugars and stuff like that. And they should be supportive of that. And as long as people know that you're trying to do that, they should encourage you and not try to force feed you the piece of cake. Oh, I made this. It's home cooked. Like, please give it a try. If they know that you have a goal of trying to be healthy and lose weight, they're more than likely not going to press that on you, right? At least I would hope so. And then, so the other side of it was if you think that you're eating healthy, but you're really not. And so this I kind of covered in my last YouTube video when I went to the store and kind of picked out some seemingly healthy, unhealthy foods that people commonly buy at the store, and I kind of tell like why they're unhealthy. Basically, it comes down to just make sure you check the ingredients, because something that's labeled as healthy might not actually be healthy for you. So to cover that side of it, go check out that YouTube video. You're probably buying some of the things in there. I mean, I know I was, up until I started doing all this research on what's actually in the food and didn't just believe what the marketing companies told us, right? All right, so moving on, staying consistent. So that's one thing that they wish they were better at, staying consistent. I think everybody wishes they were better at staying consistent. Consistency, I would say, is the biggest part of any routine, right? You can start something, but if you don't stay consistent, it's not going to stick, right? You got to create the habit. And so one way that I suggest to help with this, to create the habit, is to buy a calendar, and then each day you do whatever it is that you want to do. Say it's going to the gym. So buy a calendar. Each day you go to the gym, mark a big X on that day. And then the next day you go to the gym, mark a big X on that day. And so over time, the goal is to create as many X's as you can, which in turn creates what looks like a chain. And then the goal is to not break that chain. And so the longer the chain gets, so if you see like a whole month full of X's, 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 you're going to be less likely to break whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you're going to be less likely to not go to the gym because you see the whole page full of X's and you're like, well, shit, I really don't want to go today, but I don't want to break the chain, right? So it's raining outside. I don't want to get up and go for that run, but I would rather get up and go for the run than be disappointed in myself by breaking the chain, right? So that's one way that I recommend to use to stay consistent. All right, another huge thing on staying consistent is doing it with someone else. So we'll stick with the gym example. So if you say you want to go to the gym, it's going to be a lot easier to go to the gym if you have someone to go with. So, and that'll in turn help you with staying consistent. So I think you should get someone or a group of people together. And so whatever it is that you want to stay consistent with, get like-minded people who want to accomplish the same thing, get them together and say, hey, let's form like a pact. And we're all going to go to the gym together at this time every single day, no matter what. And that will help keep you accountable for whatever it is. You could use this for anything. So if you want to stay consistent, like the last question, your eating habits. So get your family or a group of people and say, okay, we are going to stay consistent and we're going to send each other pictures of each meal to make sure that nobody's eating crap. And like I said, that just helps keep you accountable to someone else. And if you don't know anybody that wants to do it with you, you could do it online. So like on Instagram or Facebook, find a community of people who is going to the gym or who is eating healthy and say, hey, I have this goal, but nobody that I know around me wants to participate. Would you guys be willing to help keep me accountable? More than likely, they're going to say yes. And they don't even really have to do anything. You could just post like on your story, like, okay, I'm at the gym today, I'm at the gym tomorrow, I'm at the gym the next day, I'm eating healthy today, blah, blah, blah. Just as long as like you put it out there, it kind of helps you like stay accountable to someone else. Or even if no one you know wants to participate, if like your mom or your wife or whoever, they could, you could just tell them to ask you a question at the end of the day when you get home or whenever, saying like, well, did you go to the gym today? Did you eat healthy today? Did you do what you say you were going to do? Even though they're not participating with you, they could still ask you that question to help stay accountable. And so I think that's huge with staying consistent. It's always easier to do the hard things with someone else than it is to try to do it on your own. So get an accountability partner and the calendar. And I think those two will help a lot. Next one, time management. It's easy to become scatterbrained and fall behind on things. So I struggle with this one a lot too. But I think the biggest thing is keeping first things first and realizing your priorities. So if you have a list of things to do, I think the first thing you should do is prioritize them. Like, okay, what needs to be done like the quickest? What has to get done by tomorrow? And so that's obviously going to be your priority. And then what can be done like in a couple weeks? So something that has like no deadline. And if you really think about it, you might be surprised on what actually has to get done today. So think like, what's the worst case scenario if it doesn't happen? Like, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, say you do have like a presentation coming, and you also have this other stuff. You have stuff to do with your kids or your family or whatever. Really think about it, make a list, prioritize it based on your core values and how you want to live your life, and put first things first and accomplish that. And so something that I need to do is set like a timer. So I say like, okay, for 1 hour, I am only going to focus on this, because my problem is I have a hard time doing one thing at a time. Like, I'm working on the captain's lifestyle, but I'm thinking about what I'm going to do at the gym, and then I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat when I get back. I'm like, my mind's all over the place. So something that I think can help with that is setting a timer, like I said. And so for this amount of time, I am only going to think about the gym, or I am only going to think about my work, or I'm only going to spend time with my family. My phone's not going to be involved at all. And then as soon as that timer goes off, you can move to the next thing and the next thing. But I think it's important to kind of segment your life like that, so your mind isn't going all over the place. Something that can help with that too is meditation. So just, you don't have to know how to meditate or anything. You can just take a few moments, just sit, breathe, calm your mind. Because a lot of times when we're scatterbrains and we got all these things going on, our mind's racing and like we're just uptight. If you just sit, relax, calm down, breathe, and then make a plan from there, instead of trying to react to every situation that comes up like you're constantly putting out fires. So relax, put first things first, and then set a timer for each section that you're going to be working on. All right, next question. Eating habits, we covered that in a previous answer, but I think a big thing with that too is realizing the effect that what you're putting into your body has on your body. So if you, like, people always joke about like, oh, you're going to Taco Bell, like, have fun shitting that out later. It's like, well, if you know that's going to happen, like, probably don't eat the Taco Bell, right? So pay attention to what foods you're eating, pay attention to what, like, the effect that they have on your body, and realize what that feeling is. And so then the next time you go to eat that thing, like, yeah, it's going to taste good, but it makes my stomach feel like shit. And then you have a stomach ache for the rest of the day. So that's another thing for eating habits to keep in mind. All right. Last one we'll cover today is saving money. So this is a big one because I think that our school system doesn't really do a good job of teaching us how to save money or do any adult things, really. So we're kind of forced to figure it out on our own if our parents didn't teach us or something like that. So a couple things you do for saving money is, one, don't buy things you don't need. And I say need, like actually need. So things like food, water, shelter, like you need those things, right? Things you don't need are like the expensive food, right? Or Fiji water, right? You don't need those things. Or like the name brand clothes. You don't need those things, right? Those are just like luxuries. So you can save money in that way. You don't always have to buy like the Coach purse or the Louis Vuitton, whatever. Like those are just name brands that society has claimed to be like extravagant, or those are like the high ticket items. You can make do with, go down to the thrift store. Like you can find everything you need there for like $2. So you don't always have to, like, who cares what anybody else thinks of you? If you're having a hard time saving money, or if you have enough money and you just want to save money for your future, then who cares what other people think of you? Like, oh, look at those shoes he's wearing. Like, they're old. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, it doesn't matter. And other ways you can save money is by, like, subscription services are huge. So you might, like, sign up for a subscription and think, like, okay, I'm going to use this all the time. And then it's just a reoccurring charge on your credit card. And then months go by and you don't even use it anymore. And it's still charging you even though you don't use it. So I would say go in and check your bank statement and cancel the things that you don't use anymore. Because there might be some things on there that just get reoccurringly charged, but you don't use or you don't need to use anymore. Like that's how the typical Globo Gym memberships thrive. They get everybody to sign up come New Year's because everybody wants to lose weight and be healthy. That's their New Year's resolution. And everybody signs up. And then come February, nobody's left in the gym. But they're still getting that reoccurring charge because they forget about it. And so that's why these Globo gyms make so much money, is because they can have 1 million members, but only a few of them actually show up to the gym. right? So cancel your subscription services that you don't use anymore. Also, take a look at your phone bill and your cable bill and your internet. There might be ways to decrease those. What else? I haven't used it, but there's an app called Acorns where like they round up every charge that you make with your credit card and they just invest the rest of the money. So if something's like $1.75, they'll round it up to $2 and they'll invest that quarter into whatever. So that's a good way if you don't have like a financial advisor to start investing. Again, I haven't used it, so I don't really know, but that's like another way of having a coin jar. So I really never use change. So every time I pay in cash, I just kind of save the coins, and I've got like a bunch of coins saved up that I don't know, I'll probably put in the bank sometime, but that could be another big way, is just keeping track of your change. So a lot of people just kind of discard change, whatever, but I mean, it adds up, right? So if you get like a big 5-gallon jug and just put your change in there, it's going to add up over time. But going back to the first thing, I think the biggest thing is realizing that you don't actually need a lot of the things that you buy, right? It's just things that you want, that you think are going to make you happy, and they might for a few minutes or a couple days or even a couple weeks, but then time goes on and you're going to forget about that, like that thing that you had to have. Another big way to save money is to make all your own food. Stop eating out so much because they overcharge because they have to make the food and you pay for the environment and all that. So if you make and especially grow your own food, that's a huge way to save money. I think that's it for that topic, but so that'll be the end of this podcast. Thank you guys for sending in those responses. I really enjoy being able to ask a question on my Instagram and then you guys give me the responses and I'm able to help you guys in that way. So I really enjoy that, and I think this is something that we'll definitely keep doing. But as some of you may know, this is my last weekend in America. I'm headed off to Saudi Arabia on Monday, which is when this podcast will be released. So by the time you listen to it, I might be on the plane. So I'm leaving San Francisco at like 6 p.m. and then I fly to Istanbul, Turkey, 14-hour flight there. I got like a 2-hour layover and then like another 2-hour flight into Riyadh. But yeah, so this might be the last podcast for a while until I get everything kind of situated over there. I don't really know how things are going to go, and I imagine I'll be pretty busy in the gym coaching, but I will still try to keep up on Instagram, so asking these questions and hopefully responding to you on there. And then whenever I can, I will start back up with the podcast. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for listening and for asking the questions. I hope they helped. If you found one particularly helpful, share it with whoever you think it could benefit. That way they can get help too. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget, live the captain's lifestyle. Peace. All right. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the captain's lifestyle and what I offer in my online coaching, head over to thecaptainslifestyle.com. That's thecaptainslifestyle.com. And if you'd like to keep up with what I'm doing on Instagram, it is 6 Captain Morgan 9. That's 6 Captain Morgan 9. All right. Don't forget, live the captain's lifestyle.